Have you ever felt like you're running a race you can't win, even when everyone tells you you're already at the finish line? That's Maya's story. At 31, Maya's life looked perfect on paper. Senior manager at a top tech firm, a stylish apartment with a view of the city skyline, a wardrobe full of designer clothes, and a social media feed that looked like a travel magazine. Her parents bragged about her to their friends. Old classmates messaged her saying they were inspired by her success, and younger colleagues looked up to her. By all objective measures, Maya was winning at life. But every morning, Maya would wake up with a hollow feeling in her chest. She'd stare at her reflection and see not a successful woman, but a fraud who was one mistake away from being exposed. Her promotion felt like a fluke, a clerical error someone would eventually notice and correct. The praise she received from her boss sounded like empty courtesy, not genuine recognition of her hard work. She'd scroll through her own Instagram, looking at pictures of her smiling in Paris or on a boat in the Mediterranean, and feel like she was looking at a stranger. She remembered the stress of those trips, the pressure to capture the perfect photo, the nagging feeling that she should be working instead of relaxing. Her friends would gather for brunch, talking about their weddings, their babies, their new houses. Maya would sit there sipping her mimosa, feeling a strange mix of envy and detachment. She had the career they envied, yet she yearned for the simple, tangible joys they seemed to possess. When they asked about her work, she'd give the standard, polished answers. "It's challenging but rewarding," she'd say, while a voice in her head screamed, "I'm exhausted and I don't know what I'm doing." One evening, after a particularly grueling week, Maya found herself standing in her parents' old attic. She was looking for a photo album, but instead she stumbled upon a dusty wooden box. Inside were her childhood treasures, a collection of mismatched buttons, a diary filled with clumsy drawings, and a half-finished story she had written when she was 10, about a girl who could talk to animals. She sat on the dusty floor and read the story. The handwriting was messy, the plot was nonsensical, but it was filled with something she hadn't felt in years, pure, unadulterated joy. The little girl who wrote that story wasn't trying to impress anyone. She wasn't worried about key performance indicators or stakeholder expectations. She was just creating, just being, just for the fun of it. A tear rolled down Maya's cheek. When did she stop being that girl? When did success become a checklist of external achievements instead of a feeling of internal fulfillment? She realized she'd spent her entire adult life chasing a version of success that society had defined for her, not one she had defined for herself. She was so focused on climbing the ladder that she never stopped to ask if it was leaning against the right wall. That night was a turning point. The next Monday, Maya walked into her office, but something was different. She didn't quit her job or throw her phone into a river. The change was quieter, more internal. She started setting boundaries. She said no to extra projects that didn't align with her passions. She started leaving work at a reasonable hour and rediscovered her love for painting, something she hadn't done since college. She started being honest with her friends about her struggles, and to her surprise, they responded not with judgment, but with empathy and their own stories of self-doubt. Maya learned that success isn't a destination you arrive at. It's not a list of accomplishments you can tick off. It's about building a life that feels authentic to you, even if it doesn't look perfect to the outside world. It's about finding joy in the process, not just the outcome. Maya is still a manager at her tech firm, and she's still very good at her job. But now she's also the woman who spends her weekends covered in paint, who laughs loudly with her friends about her imperfections and who is finally truly learning to be the main character in her own story, not just the one on her resume. If Maya's story resonates with you, know that you're not alone. So many of us are chasing a version of success that leaves us feeling empty. It's a journey to redefine what success means on our own terms. Thank you for watching. And if this helped you in any way, please consider subscribing for more stories about finding our way. I used to live in a constant state of low-grade panic. You know the feeling? It's that knot in your stomach when you check your bank account. That little voice whispering, "What if?" every time an unexpected bill arrives. For years, I was obsessed with my finances, but not in a good way. I tracked every penny, built complex spreadsheets, and cut out every non-essential expense I could think of. I was doing everything right. Saving, budgeting, avoiding debt. But no matter how hard I tried, I felt like I was running on a treadmill, perpetually stuck in the same place. I remember this one particular Tuesday. I'd just paid my rent, my student loan bill, and my car insurance. I looked at what was left and felt this wave of despair wash over me. I had worked so hard, put in so many overtime hours, and for what? To be right back at square one, just waiting for the next paycheck to do it all over again. I was playing the game by all the rules they taught us in school. Get a good education, get a steady job, save your money. But the promised security, the financial freedom, it felt like a myth, a carrot dangling just out of reach. That night, I couldn't sleep. I just kept replaying my financial life in my head. The promotions that came with tiny raises that barely kept up with inflation. The cost of living that seemed to climb higher every single year. The advice I was getting from financial gurus: just cut out the lattes, start a side hustle, invest in the stock market. It all felt so disconnected from my reality. I wasn't living an extravagant life. I wasn't splurging on designer bags. I was just trying to live. And then it hit me. Maybe I wasn't the problem. Maybe I wasn't failing at the game. Maybe the game itself was rigged. It was a strange thought, almost liberating. It was like I'd been trying to solve a puzzle with the wrong pieces. All this time, I had internalized the blame. I thought I wasn't smart enough, wasn't disciplined enough, wasn't working hard enough. But what if the system was designed to keep people like me exactly where I was? Running, but never really getting ahead. This realization sent me down a rabbit hole. I started reading, not just the typical personal finance books, but books about economic history, about how wealth is created and distributed, about the policies that shape our financial lives. I learned about how wages have stagnated for decades, while corporate profits and productivity have soared. I learned how the cost of essentials like housing, healthcare, and education has skyrocketed, far outpacing the growth in average incomes. It became so clear. The game board is tilted. While we're busy counting our pennies and feeling guilty about buying a coffee, vast amounts of wealth are being concentrated at the very top. We're told to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, but some people are starting the race with private jets, while the rest of us are given worn-out sneakers and a map that leads in circles. For example, think about housing. We're told that buying a home is the cornerstone of building wealth. But in many places, home prices have become so astronomical that it is simply impossible for an average person to save for a down payment, especially when rents are also at an all-time high. So you're stuck paying someone else's mortgage, helping them build wealth, while you're unable to build your own. It's a trap. Or think about retirement. We're told to diligently contribute to our 401ks, but the market is volatile, and management fees eat away at our returns. Meanwhile, pensions, which once provided a secure retirement for a generation of workers, have all but disappeared, replaced by a system that puts all the risk on the individual. We're essentially forced to become amateur stock market gamblers with our entire future on the line. This understanding didn't make me angry, at least not at first. It just made me calm. The panic started to fade. It wasn't my fault. This wasn't a personal failing. It was a systemic issue. The anxiety that had been my constant companion for years began to loosen its grip. It's a huge mental shift when you stop blaming yourself for systemic problems. But this realization didn't mean I just gave up. It meant I changed my strategy. I stopped playing a game I couldn't win and started creating my own. First, I redefined what financial success meant to me. It wasn't about a certain number in my bank account or a massive investment portfolio anymore. It was about security, peace of mind, and the freedom to make choices that aligned with my values. It was about building a life that was rich in experiences, relationships, and joy, not just assets. Second, I shifted my focus from scarcity to abundance, but in a practical way. Instead of obsessively cutting tiny expenses, I focused on the big wins. I renegotiated my salary at work, armed with data about my value and market rates. That one conversation had a bigger impact on my finances than a decade of skipping lattes ever could. I also started looking for ways to increase my income that weren't just about working more hours, but about working smarter. Third, and this is the most important part, I started talking about it. The shame and silence around money are powerful tools that keep us isolated and feeling like we're the only ones struggling. When I started having honest conversations with my friends, I was shocked. Everyone was feeling the same way. We were all fighting this invisible battle alone. By sharing our stories, our fears, and our strategies, we built a community. We shared tips on negotiating bills, finding better-paying jobs, and navigating complex financial systems. We became a collective resource for each other. That community support was more valuable than any stock tip. This journey completely transformed my relationship with money. The constant anxiety is gone. I still budget, I still save, but I do it from a place of empowerment, not fear. I understand the system I'm operating in, and that knowledge gives me power. I'm no longer just a pawn in the game. I'm an active player who understands the board. If you're feeling that same financial anxiety, that feeling of running in place, I want you to hear this. It's not just you. You are not failing. You're playing a very difficult game, and the odds are not stacked in your favor. Let go of the shame. Start questioning the advice you've been given. Educate yourself not just on personal finance, but on the economic systems that shape your life. And most importantly, talk to people. Build your community. Share your struggles and your wins. There is incredible power in realizing you're not alone. You can't change the entire system overnight, but you can change your approach to it. You can stop blaming yourself and start empowering yourself with knowledge and community. That's where true financial freedom begins. Not in a magical number in your bank account, but in the peace of mind that comes from understanding the game and writing your own rules. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content on navigating our modern financial world. See you next time. The clock hands crawl past midnight, 3 a.m. The city of Chicago glitters outside, a million tiny promises, but in here, there's just the hum of the refrigerator and the blinking cursor on a blank screen. My name is Maya. I'm 31 years old, and tonight I feel like I'm a ghost in my own life. I've spent the last 6 hours staring at this screen, trying to will something brilliant into existence for a project that feels completely meaningless. My brain is fried, my body aches, and the only thing I've accomplished is finishing a pot of coffee that is now as cold and bitter as my mood. I push back from my desk, the chair groaning in protest. The apartment is quiet, too quiet. It's a nice place, the kind of place you're supposed to want at my age. Good neighborhood, great view, but tonight it feels like a cage, gilded with the illusion of success. I walk to the kitchen and pour the rest of the cold brew down the drain. It swirls into a dark vortex, and for a second, I feel like I'm going down with it. I catch my reflection in the window, a pale, tired face superimposed over the sparkling skyline. The city looks so alive, so full of energy and purpose. Every lit window represents a life, a story. What's my story? A 31-year-old woman who spends her nights wrestling with spreadsheets and her days feeling like she's running a race she never signed up for. I feel stuck. It's a heavy, suffocating feeling, like trying to swim through mud. I've done everything I was supposed to do. I got the degree. I landed the good job. I moved to the big city. I've checked all the boxes. So why does it feel like I've completely missed the point? It's this deep, nagging question that surfaces in the quiet hours of the night. Is this it? Is this all there is? Just this endless cycle of work, sleep, and a gnawing sense of dissatisfaction. I remember being younger, full of wild dreams and a certainty that my life would be an adventure. I wanted to travel, to create, to make a difference. Where did that girl go? When did I trade her in for this sensible, responsible adult who's too tired to even dream anymore? I look around my perfectly curated apartment, at the plants I dutifully water, and the books I buy, but never read. It all feels like a set piece for a life that isn't mine. It's a performance, and I'm exhausted from playing the part. My phone buzzes on the counter, startling me out of my thoughts. It's a picture from my brother. He's in Thailand, standing on a beach with a stupidly happy grin on his face, a colorful cocktail in his hand. The caption reads, "Thinking of you. Wish you were here." A pang of something sharp and painful hits me. It's not just jealousy, it's a profound sense of loss. He's out there, living, truly living, and I'm here, under fluorescent lights, drowning in the mundane. We used to be so close, partners in crime with a shared map of the world we were going to conquer. Now he's a collection of postcards and late-night texts from a different time zone. He's a reminder of a path I didn't take. I finally give up on the night and crawl into bed. The sheets are cool, but my mind is racing. I scroll through social media, a terrible habit, I know. A highlight reel of engagements, promotions, and perfect-looking lives. Everyone seems to have it figured out. Everyone seems to be moving forward, while I'm just treading water, trying not to sink. The comparison game is a thief of joy, they say. Tonight, it feels like a full-blown home invasion. Am I failing? Am I behind? These are the wrong questions, I know, but they're the only ones my tired brain can come up with. They echo in the darkness, loud and accusatory. The city lights outside my bedroom window cast long shadows across the room. I think about all the years I've spent trying to climb a ladder, only to realize it's leaning against the wrong wall. I've been so focused on the what. What's the next career move? What's the next milestone? That I completely forgot to ask why. Why am I doing any of this? What truly brings me joy? What makes me feel alive? The silence in the room offers no answers, just more space for the questions to grow. I feel a wave of despair wash over me. It's the kind of loneliness that feels physical, an ache deep in your bones. The feeling that you're screaming into a void and not even an echo comes back. Just as I'm about to surrender to the sadness and try to sleep, my phone lights up again. Another text. This time, it's from my old college friend, Amit. We haven't talked in months, but he was always the one who could see right through the noise. The message is simple, just a few words. Hey, been thinking about you. Remember when we said we were going to build a life, not just a resume? Hope you're still building. And just like that, something shifts. It's not a lightning bolt, not a grand epiphany. It's quieter than that. It's like a key turning in a lock I didn't even know was there. Build a life, not just a resume. The phrase hangs in the air, shimmering. All night I've been asking myself what I'm doing wrong, why I'm not happy with the game I'm playing. Amit's text reminds me of a simple, powerful truth. I don't have to play. It's a rigged game designed by someone else, with rules that don't serve me. The goal isn't to win the game, it's to create your own. I don't text him back right away. I just lie there, letting the words sink in. For the first time all night, the knot in my chest starts to loosen. The heavy weight begins to lift. The questions swirling in my head begin to change. Instead of, why am I so stuck? It becomes, what's the first step I can take to get unstuck? Instead of, am I failing? It becomes, what does success actually look like to me, for me? These new questions don't have immediate answers, and that's okay. In fact, it feels liberating. It is the difference between being trapped in a maze and standing at the entrance with a blank map, ready to draw your own path. I finally fall asleep, and for the first time in a long time, it's a deep, restful sleep. The sun streams through the window the next morning, and it doesn't feel like an alarm clock for another day of the same old grind. It feels like a spotlight. I get out of bed and walk back to the kitchen. The city is still there, glittering in the morning light, but it doesn't look like a collection of taunts anymore. It looks like a world of possibilities. I make myself a cup of tea, not coffee. I open my laptop, but instead of the work document, I open a blank page. At the top, I write a new question, not, what should I do with my life? But a much better, much braver question. What kind of life do I want to build? And as I start to type, I feel a smile spread across my face. It's small, it's subtle, but it's real. The game is over. It's time to start building. Thank you for watching. If you've ever felt stuck or questioned the path you're on, you're not alone. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is change the questions you're asking. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more stories about finding your way. It was 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday in March 2025, and his apartment in the Belltown neighborhood of Seattle had that specific smell of leftover Thai food and the ozone from electronics that haven't been turned off in days. Outside, the Space Needle blinked its slow, patient blink. Inside, Nirav was staring at a crack in his wall. His girlfriend had taken the photo 3 hours ago and texted it to him. The crack ran from the ceiling corner down to the window frame, thin as a strand of hair. Landlord says it's just settling. She'd written, don't stress about it. But Nirav wasn't stressed about the crack. He was stressed about the $3,150 that would leave his account in 6 days, first of the month. Rent. Again. His 401k said he had $47,800 in it. His Fidelity app, open in another tab, said he was on track. Green bar, 72% to goal. Good job, Nirav. Keep contributing, keep forgetting, keep believing. He reached for his cold brew. It was 11 hours old. The ice had melted hours ago, leaving a watery brown ring around the cup. He drank it anyway because throwing it away felt like admitting defeat. This is where the 50-20-30 rule dies, not with a bang, with lukewarm coffee at midnight. Narav first heard about the 50-20-30 rule in 2019. He was 24, fresh off the plane from Gurgaon, sitting in a TD Bank branch on Boylston Street in Boston. The financial advisor was a kind woman named Diane who smelled like lavender and wore a brooch shaped like a dollar sign. 50% needs, 20% savings, 30% wants, Diane said, sliding a laminated card across the desk. Stick to this and you'll be fine. Narav stuck to it. He really did. Nirav's girlfriend came home the next evening. She noticed the cold brew cup was finally in the dishwasher. She noticed his laptop was closed. "Good day?" she asked. He thought about it. "Yeah," he said. "Actually, yeah."